Have a good day. Today you will learn how to change quadratic function from general form to vertex form. So the following are the steps or the procedures on how to transform general form of quadratic function to vertex form of quadratic function. First, group the term containing x. Second, factor out a. Third, we have to complete the expression in the parentheses and make it a PST or a perfect square trinomial. Then we have to subtract the product of the value of a and the number that we add. Then fourth, we have to express a perfect square trinomial as a square of binomial. And lastly, simplify. So let us have the first example. We have to write y is equal to negative 3x squared plus 12x minus 11 to its vertex form. So the first step is we have to group the term containing x. And to do that, we will just simply put a parenthesis on these two terms with variable x. Okay? So you have here your first step. So you will just simply have here or put here a parenthesis or a quantity for these two terms with variable x. For the second step, we have to factor out a. So since the value of a here is negative 3, so we have to factor it out or move or write negative 3 outside the quantity. And by doing that, we have to divide negative 3x squared and positive 12x by negative 3. So that our equation now will be y is equal to negative 3 quantity x squared minus 4x minus 11. Again, we have these two terms inside the quantity as x squared minus 4x since we divide negative 3x squared by negative 3. That's why we have here x squared. And we divide positive 12x by negative 3. That's why we got here negative 4x. For the third one, we have to complete this expression, the expression inside the quantity, and make it as a perfect square trinomial. So we have to think or we have to have here this number to be added to make it as a perfect square trinomial. And to do that, okay, so look on this part. We have to get 1/2 of negative 4, and that is negative 2. And then we have to square the product. So negative 2 squared, that is equal to positive 4. So the number to be added on this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial here is positive 4. So as you can see from our equation, we got here y is equal to negative 3 quantity x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, so this makes your expression complete, and this one is now a perfect square trinomial. You copy negative 11. Then we have to subtract the product of the value of a, which is negative 3, and the number that we add, which is positive 4. Okay, so lagi pong isa-subtract natin yung product nung value ng a natin. Again, we have here negative 3, and the number that we add from our expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. So that will be our step number 3. For step number 4, we're going to express this perfect square trinomial as a square of binomial. And to do that, we'll just simply get the square root of the first term and the square root of the last term, then copy the sign of the middle term. Then afterwards, we have to simplify this one. Negative times negative 3 times 4. So that our expression or equation now for step number 4 will be y is equal to negative 3 quantity x minus 2 squared minus 11 plus 12. Again, step number 4 is to express this perfect square trinomial as a square of binomial. So you have to get the square root of x squared, that gives you x. Square root of positive 4, that gives you 2. Then copy the sign of the middle term, which is negative. So that's why you have here the quantity of x minus 2 squared. So this is your perfect square trinomial that is now expressed as a square of binomial. Then you copy negative 11. You simplify these three terms. So negative times negative 3 is positive 3 times positive 4. We got here positive 12. Then for the last step, we have to simplify. wherein you have to combine these two similar terms, negative 11 and positive 12. So as we combine negative 11 and positive 12, we got here positive 1. So you have here y is equal to negative 3 quantity x minus 2 squared plus 1. So this will be the vertex form of the given general form of quadratic function. So to recall our vertex form, we have here y is equal to a quantity x minus h squared plus k. And for us to determine the value of a, h, and k, so the value of a is negative 3, the value of h is positive 2, and the value of k here is positive 1. Okay, so that is on how to transform general form of quadratic function to vertex form. Next example, we have y is equal to 2x squared plus 8x plus 18. So the first step is we have to group the term containing x. And as we have from the previous example, we'll just simply have here a quantity between these two terms containing variable x. So this will be our step number 1. So you just simply put a quantity or a parenthesis between these two terms. So it shows that we already grouped this term since these two terms contains variable x. For step number 2, we have to factor out a. So our a here is positive 2. So whenever we factor out our a, which is positive 2, we have to divide these two terms by positive 2. So 2x squared divides 2, and then positive 8x divides 2. So that the equation for second step now will be y is equal to 2 quantity x squared plus 4x plus 18. So this is now the expression inside the quantity since we divide 2x squared by positive 2 and positive 8x by positive 2. That's why you have now here your new expression inside the quantity. Then you copy here positive 18. For the third step, we have to again complete the expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. So we have to complete this expression inside the quantity, and then we have to make it as a perfect square trinomial. Then afterwards, we're going to subtract the product of the value of a, which is 2, and the number that will be added to this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. And this will be our solution. So again, we have to get 1/2 of positive 4. Okay, so you have to get 1/2 of your linear term, or the value of b rather. So 1/2 of positive 4 is positive 2. Then we're going to square positive 2. That's why we have here again positive 4 to be added on this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. So you have to copy y is equal to 2 quantity x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay, so this number will be added on this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. Then copy positive 18. Then subtract the product of the value of a, which is positive 2, and the number that we add, which is 4. So this will be your equation for step number 3. Then for step number 4, we're going to express your perfect square trinomial as a square of binomial. And to do that, you will just simply again get the square root of the first term and the square root of the last term, then copy the sign of the middle term. Then you have to simplify negative times positive 2 times positive 4 for our step number 4. So your equation now for step number 4 will be y is equal to 2 quantity x plus 2 squared plus 18 minus 8. So we make here our perfect square trinomial as a square of binomial. So the square root of x squared is x. The square root of positive 4 here is 2 or positive 2. And we copy the sign of the middle term. That's why we have here positive. And then we copy here positive 18. Then we simplify negative times 2 times 4. We got here negative 8. And for the last step, we have to simplify. And we have to just simply combine these two similar terms, positive 18 and negative 8. So whenever we combine these two similar terms, our final answer now will be y is equal to 2 quantity x plus 2 squared plus 10. So this will be now the vertex form of the given general form of our quadratic function. And the value of a here is positive 2, the value of h is negative 2, and the value of k here is positive 10. Okay, so this will be our example number 2 on how to transform general form of quadratic function to vertex form. Okay, so next example, we're going to transform the vertex form of the given general form of quadratic function y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 5. So the first step is we have to group the term containing variable x. So the terms with variable x are x squared and positive 2x. So that's why we have to write here a quantity or a parenthesis between these two terms. So that will be our step number 1. For step number 2, we have to factor out a. So since the value of a from this example is 1, so this will be the same equation that we have from step number 1, since whenever we divide x squared and positive 2x by 1, this will give us the same answer. So, ayan. So, this will be our equation for step number 2. Since, again, the value of a here is positive 1 or 1. For step number 3, we have to complete the expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. And we have to have here a number to be added on this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. Then we have to subtract here the value of a and the number that we add. So, 1/2 of 2 here is 1, and 1 squared is equal to 1. So the number to be added on this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial is 1. So minus the value of a, which is 1, and the number that we add, which is positive 1. So this will be our equation for step number 3. So here is our solution. Why is it 1? Ang idinagdag po natin from this expression to make it as a perfect square trinomial. Again, we get 1/2 of 2. That is 1. And we have to square the product. 1 squared, that is equal to 1. So to make it as a perfect square trinomial, 1 will be added on this expression. Then you copy negative 5. Then subtract the product of the value of a, which is positive 1, and the value or the number that we add, which is also positive 1. So this will be your equation for step number 3. For step number 4, your perfect square trinomial now will be expressed as a square of binomial. Again, you'll just simply get the square root of the first term, and you have to get the square root of the last term, then copy the sign of the middle term. And so this will be your equation for step number 4. You got here y is equal to the quantity of x plus 1 squared minus 5 minus 1. Since negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. For the last step wherein we have to simplify, you have to combine these two similar terms, negative 5 and negative 1. So as we combine these two similar terms, you got here negative 6. So therefore, the vertex form of the given quadratic function, written in general form, we have here y is equal to the quantity of x plus 1 squared minus 6. And the value of a will be 1. The value of h will be negative 1. And the value of k will be negative 6. So again, these are the simple steps on how to transform general form of quadratic function to vertex form of our quadratic function. So I hope that you learned how to rewrite your general form of your quadratic function to vertex form. So that's all. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening.